Single-family zoning is really one of the major challenges when we're talking about inequality. And the way that single-family zoning perpetuates that is by creating what are called minimum lot sizes. If you want to live in certain communities, you have to buy about 5,000 to 7,000 square feet of land effectively to live in those neighborhoods. And that's very difficult if you can't afford that. And also, if you want to build anything other than a single family home, you can't do that in 53% of San Diego. So half of the city of San Diego doesn't allow for affordable housing effectively because they don't allow for apartments. We have to really rethink how we're building in our communities, and by forcing the public or anybody to buy a minimum square footage size lot, you're effectively saying you don't want affordable housing or apartments in your neighborhood. I would say that modern zoning maps do reflect our redlining maps that were created in the 1930s. Most major cities have these redlining maps. If you look at them, you can see that the segregation that was embedded in those maps is still in effect today, that the majority of the communities that were zoned for no apartments and for single family only still tend to be wealthier and wider, and the communities that were zoned for apartments tend to be communities of lower income immigrants, low income whites as well, but also low income people of color. And that was the actual intention as well. If you look at the redlining maps and the descriptions that were provided from the federal government, they actually classified and said that there were certain communities out there that were good communities to invest in because there were single-family zoning ordinances that were in place in those neighborhoods. So they were very explicit in what they were trying to do, which was to create homogeneous neighborhoods where they actually use the words less infiltration. Everybody should have the opportunity to live somewhere in a decent environment, a safe environment. We also acknowledge that everyone should have the opportunity for home ownership because we know that's important. We have a housing crisis here in California. We have to look at our land differently. We can no longer look at the past and say that that's going to be the future. And the interesting thing about this discussion is it doesn't cost any money. It's really just taking land and looking at it differently and being able to maximize the use of that land. And most importantly too, it provides opportunity for those same communities that were redlined, because now they can buy a piece of land or they can buy a home and they can actually create wealth within their families and pass that wealth along, which is what many families have been doing for generations now. And then in the end of the day, even the homeowners that have these single family homes now will benefit, because they too will now have access to being able to build out their homes for family or others, or sell them off for a profit. This benefits everyone.